Today, people from Wisconsin may not need a permit to carry a gun.
London's public transportation isn't too happy with Uber's background check procedures.
Plus, we'll give you the WSU Sports Update.
Murrow News 8 starts now.
From Studio B on the campus of Washington State University, this is Pullman's only nightly newscast. This is Murrow News 8.
Good evening, I'm Austin Getz.
And I'm Shannon Hecht. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
Pedestrians are being forced to walk in the street in a small road on Pullman. Reporter Alfredo Llanos explains how sidewalk safety has come into question.
In Pullman that connects Valley Road and Wheatland Drive. It is part of the daily route for parents, students, and children. But the lack of maintenance puts the safety of people walking the road into question.
I was wondering if there's anyone that ever takes care of the sidewalks, because they are pretty awful, and especially the brush on the side, it's impossible to walk.
There's the other side of the sidewalk, but there's some trees over there too.
According to city regulations, property owners are responsible for cutting the overgrown vegetation on the sidewalk. The regulation states that grass needs to be cut and tree branches need to be 7 feet over the sidewalk.
I try to take my dog down to use the lawns down here to go to the bathroom, and we always end up just walking down the middle of the road because there's never anywhere to use the sidewalks.
In this particular street, not only do people have to avoid the low-hanging branches preventing them from using the sidewalk, you also have to avoid these parked cars, making them venture even further onto the road, making it even more dangerous. Parks and Recreation encourages citizens to send in tips about the infractions around town, since they run on a complaint-based service.
And the way we would deal with it is someone would call in and say, I have a complaint at, 1500 Hillside. Yeah. And then we would take a look at it. But we don't have the staff to proactively go out and just start driving the town looking for all the issues that are there.
It's not just a problem on Hillside Drive. All over Pullman we'll see glimpses of overgrown grass or bushes that push people to walk on the side of the road. If you see this problem in your neighborhood, you can call 509-338-3300. Alfredo Llanos, Murrow News 8.
Students will be seeing gender-neutral bathrooms popping up throughout campus after WSU has approved these facilities. Although many believe that this implementation is a new right for a group of underrepresented individuals, this isn't the case. The measure is a way to enforce laws that already exist, with Title IX being a prime example. This is a step towards creating a more accepting institution.
After the break, Facebook gives up thousands of ads for the Russia investigation.
And we give you an update on Hurricane Maria's path of destruction.
The great outside.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
So shiny.
We both love the outdoors.
That's not a flower.
And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
I wouldn't use this one.
He helps me with my decision making.
Never.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Wisconsin could become the 13th state to allow permitless carries of guns. A bill passed yesterday by the state's Judiciary Committee would loosen gun restrictions. Supporters believe that this allows people more freedom to protect themselves. Opponents feel that this law would simply encourage more criminals to carry guns. The state largest police union has come out against the bill as it now heads to the Senate for a full vote. Although Uber is coming to Pullman, it's being kicked out of London. Today, the Transport for London stops on issuing drivers operating license. Officials say they're concerned with Uber's approach, processing driver background checks and reporting criminal offenses. In response, Uber says London is closed to innovative ideas and is appealing the decision.
Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg says the company will share thousands of Russia-linked political ads with investigators. He also promised to be more transparent with political advertisements. They will now have disclaimers for who the ads support and what organization paid for them. This movement to share the ads comes after the public has pressured the social media company. Some believe the compliance is to avoid government regulation of the site in the future.
I don't want anyone to use our tools to undermine democracy. That's not what we stand for. The integrity of our elections is fundamental to democracy around the world. That's why we built teams dedicated to working on election integrity and preventing governments from interfering in the elections of other nations.
A spokesperson said earlier this month that Russia had nothing to do with the advertisements.
Hurricane Maria is destroying everything in its path, leaving residents in a state of fear. The hurricane left Puerto Rico with flooding, crushed homes, and at least 2 people dead. Millions on the island are potentially facing weeks and perhaps months without electricity after the storm knocked out the entire grid. Residents are now collecting rainwater and searching for gas canisters for cooking. Maria is now affecting the people of Turks and Caicos.
It's the first day of fall, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the rain and wind are here to stay.
After the break, I'll give you the 5-day forecast.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
The great outside.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
So shiny.
We both love the outdoors.
That's not a flower.
And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play or even what you wear. You just need to be there. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Welcome back. You might have to bundle up for the game. Austin is here to tell you what temperatures to expect this weekend and how. Austin, how's the weather looking?
Thanks, Shannon. Happy first day of fall, everybody. And the weather report, a little bit cool today, 51 degrees. Partly cloudy. Today's high was 56. The average is actually almost 20 degrees higher than what it actually is today. So moving on, we'll look at tomorrow's forecast for the game. In the morning, it'll be 46, really chilly in the morning if you're going out to the tailgates. By the afternoon, around game time, 55 degrees. So no rain in the forecast, but maybe want to bring a jacket to the game. And then getting into the evening, just dropping a few degrees into 54 overnight. So now let's take a look at the rest of the state. Over on the west side, Seattle, Olympia, and Vancouver, all around the same temperature, about 70 degrees, partly cloudy over there as well. In the middle of the state, Wenatchee and Yakima, still about the same, 64, 67 respectively, and partly cloudy. And then back over here on the west side, Spokane, just a bit warmer than Pullman, 61 degrees and 56 in Pullman. So now let's get into the 5-day forecast. First off, looking at Sunday, 63 degrees and then 63 degrees again on Monday. Both of those partly cloudy. And then we start hitting a bit of a heat wave as we get into 67 on Tuesday, 71 on Wednesday, and 73 on Thursday. Partly cloudy on most of those days. So like you said, Shannon, it's getting a little bit breezy as we get into fall, but still we can see some sun in the future.
Well, I know I'm ready for that fall weather. I'm a big sweater gal. But when we come back, we'll show you what the Washington State University athletic teams have been up to. And another former player is connected to CTE.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
The WSU volleyball team played their rival, the University of Washington, in their first Pac-12 match of the year. Derek Baker talks about how the Cougs will look to bounce back from the loss.
WSU volleyball team came out firing against UW, racking up kills and blocks fueled by the elongated rivalry. Coach Jen Greeny knows firsthand what the rivalry means as a coach and a former player.
Colleges have their rival school, but I think for us Cougs, it certainly means a lot. And you know, I had that as a player, and then was an assistant coach here as well, and now the head coach. So yeah, I think that rivalry goes pretty deep.
The team kept it close through all 4 sets despite not having star senior Casey Shainline. Taylor Mims led the team with 20 kills while McKenna Woodford racked up 10. The Cougs fought hard but ended up losing the first 2 sets 25-19 and 25-18, but turned it around, winning the 3rd set 25-21, then losing a close 4th set 25-22.
While the Cougs were unable to pick up a win against the University of Washington, the 7th-ranked team in the nation, they did view this game as an important stepping stone in the success they expect for this season.
I think it's a good indication of where we're at. I also think it's kind of a shock to us that we can play teams like this really well, and we can do really well, and it didn't feel like the number 7 team in the nation.
The Cougs will look to bounce back from the loss when they go on the road to play the University of Arizona Saturday at 6. Derek Baker, Murrow News 8.
The Cougar football team is gearing up for a showdown with Nevada Wolfpack tomorrow. I'll take you back to last week and tell you how the Cougs moved to 3-0. Off of a thrilling triple overtime win against the Boise State Broncos, Washington State opened Pac-12 play at home against the Oregon State Beavers, a team that senior quarterback Luke Falk has had no shortage of success against during his time in a Cougar uniform. Dating back to his first start in 2014, Falk has racked up nearly 1,300 yards and 16 touchdowns against the Beavers, but Falk doesn't view them any different than other opponents.
I guess I think of them as my first start, but other than that, I mean, they're another opponent. They're a good team, and you got to go out there and give them their best shot.
Falk and the Cougar offense got off to a hot start by finding junior wide receiver Tavares Martin Jr. in the corner of the end zone for the first score of the day. Falk would continue to spread the wealth, finding sophomore wideout Isaiah Johnson-Mack for 6 early in the second quarter. Johnson-Mack was one of the main storylines to watch in the offseason as he came into camp noticeably bigger, stronger, and faster. He says that's the difference between his play this year and last year.
When I came here, I wasn't a very strong guy, so I got a lot stronger in the offseason, a lot better conditioning, and you know, it'd be long drives to get to the goal line. So when I'm down there, I'm not tired. I can play as well as I can because I'm conditioned this year. So it helped me tremendously.
Martin Jr. finished with 194 yards and 3 touchdowns, while Johnson-Mack finished with 2 touchdowns. Former New England Patriots tight end Aaron Hernandez is now being linked to chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Hernandez committed suicide at the age of 27 while serving a life sentence for the murder of Odin Lloyd. Upon an examination, Hernandez was found with severe stage 3 CTE. Doctors say it's the worst case of CTE found in someone his age. Additional stats reported that 111 players scanned for CTE, 110 had traces of brain paralyzing disease. CTE can only be scanned after a person dies. And it's something to wonder, Shannon, about the future of youth football in America, with parents now seeing the results of these studies on brain injuries.
I was just wondering, if I ever had kids, would I let them play football just because of their head injuries?
Absolutely, you know? And I can say back when I was a young man, that was never an issue with playing football. All right, well, thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining us. We'll be back here on Monday for our only daily newscast in Pullman. Have a great night, and don't forget to follow Murrow News 8 on Facebook and Twitter. You have a good night, Pullman.